everybody, and welcome to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Amber.
And I'm Alora.
And thank you for being here. Yes, we did have a new intro. I'm actually, I've got one in the works as well. We've got somebody doing a rap for us. So that's exciting.
A real human being.
Yes, a real human being, not AI. Hey, Joy. Hey, Fluffy Muffin. And let's see who else is in here. And New Orleans lady, Prentice One. So thank you all for being here.
And anybody else in the background, we appreciate it.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, so this week has been very boring for me. I've been sick again. Like, I've been exhausted this whole week. So I don't know what's going on with me. So I didn't do really anything this week.
I've just been working all week.
Yeah, and you've been working pretty hard.
Yeah, 6 days in a row. Now, my bad. Now I'm only getting 1 day off, so that's ass.
Yeah, well, flowers are in
the thick of it. Yeah, I play with plants all day, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I would say that. So, we also want to give a shout out to Caveman, by the way, from Military Broadcast Radio. We're super proud of him. He got a job with the New Orleans Saints as a sound guy. So I'm super excited for Caveman. And then I also wanted to give another shout out to my cousin Stephanie, who is doing a super amazing job helping me with the Lawton serial killer.
Oh, she's helping you. She's real good.
She went to the store today and she bought a bunch of poster boards and stuff like that. And she's doing a timeline,
I love her.
just so she can put it together in her head visually. And
her husband's a police officer, correct?
Yeah. So
we probably don't want to divulge much more than that.
Yeah, no. So but it's pretty interesting. So not this week, which I thought I was going to go this week, but I'm going to go not this week, but the coming week. I'm going to go to Lawton and film some sites. And hey, Toxic Barbie. And
how long do you think you're going to be out there?
I'm going to be out there at least a week. So, and then I'll come back every once in a while to do more stuff. But I'm trying to, let everybody know that I'm in the area and that I want to know about this case. So hopefully we get some stuff done in a couple of weeks. And Stephanie's already done a lot. Like a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know we've been kind of at a standstill because there's only so much information online, but I guess when you're there.
Yeah, when you're there, and she's got some other motivating factors. So
that would be insane.
It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. So that's what's going on here at Into the Weeds. Also, I am working on a pretty cool project. It does have to do with Gypsy Rose. There is a producer involved, but it's not a documentary or anything. It's just a piece. It's a piece.
Let it come out first before we
say too much. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But we're going to be working on that again this week. And there's a lot of really cool things happening here. And I'm excited that you guys are on this journey with us, because honestly, it's all about learning and just
figuring it out as you go.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Okay, so we have a pretty interesting show for you guys today. I'm not even sure where it's going to go, because I found out some information right before and it stunned me. So I'm a little discombobulated, but today's episode explores a complicated personal story involving childhood mental health treatment, family dynamics, and difficult life decisions. Our guest grew up in a family with significant resources and high expectations. As a child, she was identified as an intellectually gifted child, but she also went through years of psychiatric evaluations and medications. As she got older, tensions with her family increased, and her life eventually became entangled with a relationship involving a man with a documented criminal history. Today, we're going to talk about her childhood, her relationships with her parents, how she became involved with that toxic relationship, and what she wants people to understand about that chapter of her life. And as always on Into the Weeds, the goal isn't judgment. It's about understanding a human story. And that's what we're here to do, is just learn about people is honestly what I'm here to do. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Celeste Green. Hold on, let me bring her up real quick.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Hello, Celeste. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys.
So this is going to be a very interesting stream, and I'm not sure where it's going to go.
We're going to find out.
So it seems.
So, okay, let's get into it. Okay,
Yeah.
You were adopted into your family. How much did you know about that growing up?
Okay, so I was adopted at 4 days old. That was a talking point my entire life. I don't think there was ever a point in time where this is our adopted daughter wasn't a topic of conversation.
Oh, wow.
I was in support groups about it, therapy about it. My parents had books about it. We had books on how I was gifted to them by God and Jesus Christ. And that can kind of cause a complex in any little kid,
Yeah.
no matter how you really look at it.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, it would be used within my family as like, well, you're our adopted child. Do you know how expensive you were? Do you know how much we sacrificed for you? Do you know how many agencies we had to go through to get you? Did you know that we almost got arrested because when you were born, we weren't in the state and they couldn't find us?
What?
The exact opposite of people that should be adopting.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say
Yeah.
that.
and like they believed and they used it as like I mean, my 18th birthday, this is what's gonna blow your mind. My 18th birthday, I was gifted a stack of papers. Hi, Fluffy. I was given this stack of papers this thick of phone records from all of the police calls and phone calls that every single person in my family made, all the adults and the police, because it was 1994, to find my parents on their road trip from Albany, New York, up through Maine and back down for their wedding anniversary. Yeah. That was my gift.
I'm not following.
Explain that a little bit, because I'm confused on that.
You got.
I was, instead of given a birthday gift, I was given a stack of papers showing every single phone call ever made when my parents got in trouble and there was a DCFS case out because they couldn't find my parents and I was considered an abandoned child in a hospital in Houston
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
at 4 days old. That was the, hey, we love you so much. Look how much we loved you.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Given to you by them.
By
my
them on
Oh
my
my
18th
God.
birthday.
Oh my God.
It's
Oh
one
wow.
of those where you go, what?
No.
And
Sorry.
like it even there, it's not where it started. It's not even where it stopped. I spent every single birthday flying from Houston, Texas, up to upstate New York. My mom's family's from Albany, New York.
Mhm.
And we had a lake house, family lake house property on a lake called Scroon Lake in upstate New York. And we went every single year. Do you know what it's like to watch every single one of your cousins open up birthday gifts on your birthday, as well as your aunts and your uncles? You know, sure that the room is decorated for you and all of that, but you're having to watch your cousins get the gifts you wanted.
What?
Do you know what it's like to ask for Uno? I'm sorry, you don't remember the Uno, the shootout one? I begged for that for my birthday at Christmas. My little cousin Brent got it instead.
Oh, I'm sorry that happened to
Sorry,
you.
it seems so small, and my grandmother
Oh,
noticed it. My grandmother noticed it and went out of her way to make sure I didn't feel alone. I actually have a tattoo for her on my thigh. It says it said hourglass. It's broken because of her passing, and it says Blackberry Fields forever, because in those moments and when she knew that I was not doing well, I was very ostracized by my family for being the adopted weird kid.
Mhm.
She would take me up the mountain and we would go blackberry raspberry picking for like 12 hours and we would just disappear up there.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that my grandma was and my dad are like the only two people in that entire family that treated me like I was their own.
Really?
Everybody else made sure it was a talking point and just a constant reminder of how I wasn't a part of their family.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Glad to hear that you at least had somebody,
Yeah.
but that doesn't take away all of the pain.
No, I think it's what gave me. My father said to me, if you put your mind to it, you can move mountains.
Mhm.
And my grandmother said, don't let a single person tell you that you can't, because if you can beat up those boys out there, you can do more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real. I grew up getting shot by airsoft sniper rifles. So like that was their version of fun, was trying to drown me, shooting me, pushing me off of a boat, off of a speedboat when it's driving, just like what I thought was just normal 90s kid stuff. And the more I'm talking and I'm seeing your faces, the more I realize this may not have been
Right.
normal 90s kid stuff.
Yeah. I mean, 90s kid stuff was pretty intense, but pretty intense, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it was normal for my mom to be or any of my aunts or uncles to be leaving me, at like 13 years old with my 13-year-old cousin and my 11-year-old boy cousin. And I had all boy cousins, right, except for one, with a small motorized fishing boat to ride around this lake and just go fishing and disappear for hours at a time. I feel like that
Wow.
was not the smartest idea, because it's not at the smallest lake and we're like on the opposite side of it, past a freaking island.
Well, I grew up in a rock quarry, and we used to push each other in what we called quicksand.
Yeah, we had that in the bayous. Houston, of course we had that too. I have a scar there for it.
My cousins actually grew up in the rock quarry, but I was there all the time. So
Oh, I bet you got great memories of it though. I got great memories. These are still like great memories to me. But even so, like when I talk about it with people, every so often I'll get someone that goes, "They did what now?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. We're all good."
Yeah. Okay. So now everybody can see your tattoo. Let's just get into that real quick. Since you said you were adopted, let's get into that real quick.
So I am a very, very, very heavily white passing Hispanic and Amazigh woman. So on my father's side, parts of it are a wreath. It's East Texas for you. There's a reputation. It happened, but they have been here since the Revolutionary War, and I can follow the Haleys and the rest of that family biologically all the way back into like Scotland. On my mom's side, we're a pretty recent generational immigrant family, only about 3 or 4, I believe. And we're from the Canary Islands in Spain. So, and when you get to the Canary Islands, you do enter, it goes far enough back where the records become a little muddled, because there is Amazigh blood in there, which is the North African tribal people. So this is my Sayala specifically for that. I went out to Morocco specifically to get it done, because I wanted to make sure that I got it done by the right people.
Oh, that's awesome that you went and got it done by. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's super cool. It looks great.
Thank you. It was a lifelong journey for me. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
I like it. And I actually wanted to live in Morocco, but Alora was too young and she had a liver disease.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, if anything happens, we won't be anywhere.
Yeah, I loved Morocco. It was absolutely beautiful. I'll be honest, growing up in the wealthy community and in the wealthy parts of the world, I grew up with a father who traveled for Shell Oil, because he was the head of the deep water exploration team for Shell Oil. And so he traveled to Nigeria quite regularly. He traveled to Papua Guinea when he worked there. Russia, the Netherlands. My father spoke French and Spanish. So, I enjoy traveling to more rural areas just so I can humble myself and see the difference of how I was raised, so that even when I speak on my struggles, I know that it's coming from a place of understanding that I still had privilege in all of it. And that's what a big thing for me. Yeah. And I loved Morocco because it opened my eyes to a lot. And it gave me a sense of homecoming that I hadn't had in a really long time. The people are wonderful.
Okay, that's beautiful. Awesome. I really like that story. I like that. And the fact that you're willing to go outside of societal norms and honor your heritage
Yes.
is very respectful. So
Yes, this is the señales and the facial tattoos, the traditional tattoos are coming back more in the younger generations. Currently, most people out there only remember their grandmother having it, and because it phased out with the rise of Islam. And for me, it was something that gave me an identity that was stolen from me. And my parents were very adamant throughout my life that because I was white like them, and I was German, and I was very, very, very white. And you look at my photos, you saw some of them. I was a very much a mixed child, and I wish that my parents had just been more honoring of that instead of negating it and trying to snuff it out and shame it out of me, because it caused more identity issues than it really caused a cohesiveness to their family unit.
I bet it did.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about people that were adopted that feel like they have no connection to, their heritage or anything like that. And I think it's really a shame. I mean, I know that's like the main complaint that a lot of people have with adoption. It's that it completely separates you from your culture. And, sometimes can even like, if you have I feel like I've heard something about like, if you even have like certain like birthrights and stuff, some of that can get taken away or something like that.
Yes, it can. Because what happens is when you are issued a new birth certificate, it is your adoptive parents' names on there. You do not have rights to your original birth certificate at all. All of my records are redacted, and the only way that I figured it out is I did some sleuthing on the internet and found my family, and it hurts because, understandably, they wanted to prevent me from being hurt. My biological mother is a drug addict. I need to make that very clear. My biological mother has struggled with methamphetamine addiction, benzodiazepine addiction, and other addictions that she did end up hurting me with as well when I had my own experience with her. But my biological father died 6 weeks before I found him.
Oh, wow.
From a blood clot to his brain, because he believed that he could fight it and he didn't have the resources to go get help.
That's heartbreaking. I'm so sorry to hear that.
And the only reason why I couldn't find it was because my parents lied about the agency for a whole year after I turned 18, instead of just being honest with me like they should have been. And I understand that they were just trying to protect me, but the best protection that you can give to any adoptee is give them the answers. Let them go find them. It's like when you raise a kid, you go through a divorce and one parent has full custody and the other parent just wasn't allowed to be around until 18 because they're unhealthy. But you go, look, man, here's their contact information. This is how you get a hold of them. Go find out who they are and make your own decision. I just wanted you to be safe as a kid. It's the same thing. And I just wish that it had been taken seriously like that and been treated like that, instead of well, we don't want you to get hurt and you're just going to get hurt. I was going to get hurt anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's true. I've met many adoptees who have had that struggle.
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. And I've also seen it where adoptees have had really good experiences with their adopted families. And then when they find their birth family, and even though they're not good people, they go towards them instead of the adopted family.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very interesting, the dynamics of people who are adopted. It's very interesting.
No, it really is. It's so complex. I, being a child from the troubled teen industry, I know that if you speak to other people, and even Paris Hilton even would know what I'm talking about. There are adoption groups in there. They're called abandonment wound groups, where they go in there. And my father and I have spoken on this because I'm trying to heal the very broken relationship with my mother. I understand she has a mental illness. I comprehend that now at 31 years old, that my mother was struggling. I can look back at the photos. My mother was not doing very well when I got adopted. She needed help, not a baby, right? And these groups come in and they prey on these adoption issues, and they prey on these families, because I didn't have abandonment issues with my mother. Oh no, I was fine. The reason why my mom and I didn't get along was because my mom just had a mental illness and didn't have the resources to handle a child that could do calculus in the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my pattern recognition at that point, yeah, I'm going to learn what an emancipated minor is by the 5th grade. And I'm going to go, I know this stuff isn't normal. I need to
Yeah.
take a moment, and I love you, but we're not 2 peas in a pod.
Mhm.
And it just, they preyed on that, and they falsified and influenced a fake abandonment wound between my mom and I, where I felt that I was being abandoned 24/7, and that's not how I actually felt. I
Mhm.
didn't feel abandoned being sent there, because I'm the one who asked for help, because I was very, 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 very sad. And they caught them on that brain scans, and the industry did what it did, which is prey on desperate parents looking for help for their children. And
Mhm.
those places are run on cult-based beliefs. They're run on the group style attack therapy mindset, and they're built on destroying the family unit so that the child and the parent unit have a disconnect and can no longer trust each other, which perpetuates the need for the school. And I can tell you that's exactly what happened to my family.
Okay, so let's get into that. So at a young age, you did a bunch of IQ tests, and they found out that you were extremely bright. What was
Yeah.
it?
139 on the high end, 127 on the low.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son at one time, I think he was like 127 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So let's talk about that and your ADHD diagnosis and all of that.
So
So
here's
tell us about that.
here's the fun complexity of that. One of my big special interests, because obviously I like to learn, is psychology. And after being in the troubled teen industry, I graduated with like 16 extra credits in high school of just psychology.
Oh, wow.
Just human behavior and how the brain works, because
Mhm.
that's why I was really in there. Most of the kids that are in those programs are drug addiction, self-harm, borderline personality disorder, things like that.
Mhm.
I was in there because I was too smart for my own good.
Yeah.
Let's be very real. Let's be very real. I was too smart for my own good. I was hacking computers. You took away you took away this, right? I figured out how to work with the mouse. You took away the mouse. I figured out how to use the
Wow.
the keyboard. I know my dad's not proud of it, but he did make a suicide cord at one point to be able to make sure I couldn't use the computer, because I could figure out how to rewire and do electrical welding and create my own power cord.
Wow. Oh my
Like I said, I was a little bit too smart for my own good.
God, no kidding. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Now, to be fair, when the little kid goes, "Hey, Dad, how does that work?" You probably shouldn't take it apart when they can put it all back together. But anyway, when you go through the testing for that, I was too smart. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I'm gonna make the joke, and I need to make this very clear. I'm not making fun of anybody with a speech impediment, because I don't know if you've noticed it. I have a speech impediment. Good thing if you have it, because I'm about to show it to you. I have something called rhoticism. I was in speech therapy until the 3rd grade because of it. It's also one of the most common things that coincides with the super high IQ. This is how I try to roll my R's. Ugh!
What? Okay.
I can't. So my tongue doesn't do that, because I used to say so squirrel was squirrel, and girl was girl, and so I couldn't say. That's all my entire life. Could not say my W's. Couldn't say it, and they're like, "No, this girl's like low IQ because of it." And then once they got that handled, and like we figured out that like my hips dislocate, right? They're like, okay, no, okay, she's not low IQ. That's what caused it to happen. I'm gonna be very real. And that's why I was like, please, I'm not making fun of people with a disability. I would never, ever do that. But it's a cute little, hey, if you want to know what my speech impediment sounds like, here you go. This is what I sound like when I try to speak Spanish. It doesn't sound right. Never comes out right.
I
But-
get it. My little brother, he was not able to pronounce his R's until he was about 15. And we've been talking about this recently, actually.
Yeah, we were talking about it a couple days ago.
Like a couple days ago, he's like, I literally would sit in the shower and try and say pearl.
Yes.
Pearl. And he, mad props to him for getting rid of it on his own. People always used to ask him if he was British. So much. Oh.
Every so often you'll catch me off guard and you'll hear like the most like random speech slur that comes through. And no, Stacey's right that it is super commonly impaired with intellectual disability. And what's super frustrating is within my autism diagnosis, I was diagnosed originally with pervasive developmental disorder. That's what comes with this IQ too. So I would technically be, if through the scaling, level 3 autism, and I'm going here because we don't know. Let's be very real. You said my ADHD diagnosis, how we got there. Welcome to how we got there. I could, because it's so much. It's all in a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get back to where I was going to go with this.
No, you're good.
Having a super high IQ, and this is what we found out as an adult. And what I found out as an adult, getting reassessed as an adult, having a high IQ, childhood PTSD, and childhood depression looks identical to ADHD. It's one of the most common misdiagnoses in children for ADHD is childhood PTSD, childhood depression, and a super high IQ. Because the way that it comes off is a hyperactive child who just isn't getting enough stimulus. And then because you have PTSD and you have depression, you have a little bit of a mood disorder. And that's why I was put on those medications. My mother refused, denied it all day long, denied it till the cows came home that I was depressed. You don't get put on the medications that you saw that I was on at those ages if there wasn't a reason for it. And my brain scans by the Amen Clinic, I was told you I was going to give him his name. Let me Google that for you. His name is Dr. Daniel Amen. And if anybody watching knows who that is, they're going to be like, oh my gosh. If they don't, he's a quack psychiatrist, neurodoctor, who has been opening up these clinics. And the Google overview for him is Daniel Gregory Amen is an American celebrity doctor who practices as a psychiatrist. He is the founder and chief executive officer of the Amen Clinics. He is also the founder of Change Your Brain Foundation, Brain MD, and Amen University. He's the guy who wrote Healing ADD, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, just Healing ADD. Any of those where it's Dr. Amen. If you're reading about an 8-year-old little girl, you're reading about me.
Wow.
Really?
My brain was, yes. I had the size of an adult man's brain at 8 years old. And they noticed through the testings that they did and the MRI functional brain scans that my frontal lobe was slow. And now, mind you, I do have a neurodegenerative condition that could explain this. But the other options that could explain this and the other differentials were depression and PTSD, not ADHD. And my mom, because she has the Munchausen's and the mental illness, fell down a rabbit hole on how she was going to disprove that and that it was actually ADHD and they needed to up my medication higher. And that's where it's like we weren't really sure as adults. As an adult, we're not really sure if it is ADHD or if it's just the long-standing issues that I developed trying to survive a house where my mom had me on high amphetamines. My sister was 10 years older and being a crazy teenager. And then my dad was an alcoholic. That would cause ADHD-like symptoms in a child, no matter what.
That's interesting because my husband and I were just talking about how when he was a kid, they wanted from like, he said, Amber, before you were alive, they were trying to put me on medication. And I was like, oh, dang, because he's like 4.5 years older than me. And yeah, so, but he had a really, really high IQ as well. And he kind of burnt that by doing drugs.
Yeah, don't worry. Mine's a little burnt too now, but
he's still the smartest person I've ever met, hands down, like on everything. Like you can bring up any topic to him and he can pretty much talk to you about it.
Oh, him and I would probably have a great conversation then, because that's the collective within my group too. They're like, "Hey, do you know about this? I need to ask you a question." Yeah, I got you. I probably took a class on it.
Yeah, actually, this well-known author came to my husband one time because they had been in Bible study together and stuff like that. If you don't know, my husband's a preacher. He preaches at nursing homes and stuff like
that's
that.
Beautiful.
And
that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, well, they don't have anybody to visit them.
They
So
don't.
that's what he does every other week.
I love that.
So he was in this Bible study with this well-known author, and him and another guy came to my husband, and they were like, "Hey, we got to apologize to you." And he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "We thought you were full of crap."
I understand this very well.
They're like, we sat in classes with you and talked to you about all these different things, and you just always had an answer. And it wasn't until you started talking about something that we actually knew about, like taking apart a washer and fixing it, just like he had done it every day of his life. And they were like, oh, dang, maybe he does know what he's talking about.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, he gets that all the time, and people think that he's full of crap all the time, but no, he genuinely knows like everything about everything.
Because people who say stuff like that normally are full of shit.
No, they are. Usually when you like I'll go to a job interview and I'll go, yeah, I'm like a jack of all trades. You can put me in front of anything and I'll learn it within 5 minutes. And they're like, no, you won't. And then not only did I learn it in 5 minutes, I'm now doing it faster than my manager and her manager and that other person's manager.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Built an entire airplane simulator by himself, like never even done anything in his life,
done anything like that before.
Never flown a plane, nothing like that.
This is yes,
exactly like it. We wish we still had pictures, but
actually, the guy
you guys are so lucky that you guys are so lucky. It is a gift. I'm gonna be real. I know that this intelligent comes with its struggles because a lot of people don't emotionally relate to us. We can come off as condescending or as if we're talking down to people. We're not. It's just how we communicate. And I love to see families of other high intelligence individuals because it's a blessing. It's a lot more fun because you're like, you did what now?
Right. And he has this knack of, it doesn't matter what food it is. He cooks it one time and it's absolutely perfect. And the next time it sucks.
Yeah, me too. I did pad thai one time. Was the greatest pad thai I'd ever cooked. And I was like, yeah, I went to Thailand. I learned how to cook this. Came back. Nope.
Okay. So let's get back into your story.
I was looking over here in this Dr. Amen guy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Part of the MAHA, the Make American
Yeah, the people that send you to the
RFK.
The people that send you to the troubled industry. Look up NATSMA, I believe. Hold on. Hold on. NTA hold on. No. Nat SAP. I believe it's okay. Look up NATSAP. I want this blind reaction really quick when I get to tell you what two of those schools that are a part of this include.
National Association of Therapeutic Schools and Programs.
There are 2 programs in Brazil that promise to parents that if you send them there from the United States, they will return home with 2 broken bones.
What?
Yep. Yeah, most of the schools that are in there that used to be in there when I was in the NATSAP programs don't exist anymore because of the abuse lawsuits.
Okay, so let's get into that. Okay,
the guy you were talking about was sending kids there?
He's one of the people that will recommend you to go to they're called educational consultants. They're basically salespeople that sell people these schools and recommend off of. They never meet the child, and they read a medical record, and then they send them to these places. Dr. Phil does it too. I've met multiple Dr. Phil patients. I was in school with them.
Yeah.
Yes, JE did like to do that. I'm going to be very real. That is not a rumor. As somebody who was in those schools, there is a reason why I fell into the trafficking style that I did. They sexually groomed the girls. I will
I
put that
believe
out
it.
there right now. They sexually groom all of us.
Mhm.
It's sadistic. It's sick.
Any
So
person I've ever met that's gone into the troubled teen industry, they're fucked up from it beyond belief in one
Mhm.
way or another. Like even if they live, normal, functional lives, they're
and I'm
still
going to be honest, there was
traumatized.
a situation in our lives where I almost
Mhm.
sent somebody to one because I wasn't sure what to do, and I wasn't.
Forgive yourself.
Yeah, I
This is
didn't
the
send her, but
Still,
still,
forgive
Oh,
yourself.
you
Forgive
know,
if there's anything in your body that feels guilty about that, forgive yourself. You were preyed on by a predatory industry that's there to prey on families struggling. I need to make that very clear. You were a victim of a system.
yeah, and
thankfully that never came to fruition, but
It's still when I am happy that the subreddit troubled teens does exist because parents come to us now asking for help and we're able to help.
good,
but
good.
someone else in her family ended up going to a
Oh
troubled teen
yeah,
industry
yeah,
very shortly afterwards.
Yeah,
Not by you though.
yeah. Not by me, but
across the board, I understand that it's there to help. There are programs that help. I'm not going to lie. Some of the places I went to, I'm going to put one out there. If you're struggling with OCD, I highly recommend, if your insurance can cover it, Rogers Memorial Hospital in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. They're one of the leaders in the world, and they saved my life. They are one of the most amazing groups of people. I will always recommend Rogers. I don't put them in the group with everybody else. Some people
okay.
might, but they changed my life.
So let's talk about how and why you went into the troubled teen industry. Let's start there. So, what happened to get you there?
I started having violent outbursts because of the medication and my mother. My father was an alcoholic, and he is not proud of the behaviors that he engaged in. My father physically assaulted me regularly. I've been hit, I've been smacked, I've been held up by my throat while I was pregnant to the point that my feet no longer touched the ground so he could get in my face and yell at me.
Oh wow.
He's held me down when I was 100 pounds and he was 6 foot 250, screaming in my face about how I'm a worthless wretch. And they used to lock me in my room because, I fought back. And in the state of Texas, there's stand your ground laws.
Mhm.
I will, until the cows come home again, always say that it was self-defense. My mother was very mentally ill. My mother still to this day, I cannot go into her home because she will become violent. She
Mhm.
is showing signs of either Alzheimer's or dementia, which was the end hope for me, because when you deal with someone with these disorders, that's the moment that you get to have them back for just a little bit before they're gone again. And so I'm getting her back for a little bit and I'm enjoying it.
Mhm.
But she can be violent and she can go, "You're a mental illness freak," and she'll shove me up against walls and hold things up against me. And I'm not gonna touch a 5'2" 74-year-old woman. You're not gonna get me to do that.
Mhm.
Maybe when I was 13, she was in her 50s and she was beating me with a wooden spoon. Yeah,
Mhm.
but not now. And so what happened was, and this is what's going to be really hard for a lot of people, I went to DCFS for help. My father was out of town, and this is the first time this story is going to go public. So my father was out of town, and I wanted to go to church, and my mom wanted to do what she did every single day when my dad was out of town, which was make me do schoolwork non-freaking stop, clean the whole house, and basically be her emotional punching bag for the entire day.
Mhm.
And so I said, "No, I want to go to church. I want to go to church. Daddy takes me to church every Sunday. You said you'd take me to church. Why can't I go to church? I got myself up today, just like you told me I had to. I made sure the alarm was in. My hair is brushed. I fed myself. I bathed myself. Why can't I go to church?" And she started beating me. She didn't know I had found the keys to unlock the padlock that locked the French doors closed. So I
What?
grabbed that, unlocked the chain, and snuck out the French doors and walked out to my church and told them that I was too scared to go home. They called DCFS. 6 weeks later, I was admitted to SUS of the Carolinas, a program that doesn't exist anymore. It's a wilderness therapy program, an alternative to boot camp.
Uh-huh.
My father says the reason why I was sent away was because they went and spoke to an attorney, and the attorney told my father that if they didn't get me out of there, he was going to go to prison.
Mhm.
That's an admission of guilt. He knew what he did.
Yeah.
My parents were, to answer the medication question, My mother and father were hiding pills in food. They were offering me applesauce where they were dumping scoops of gabapentin into. GABA powder. Gabapentin.
Gabapentin's like from the devil.
Do
Seriously,
you know what it's? I was in the 5th grade, entering 6th grade, having to eat 2 full heaping scoops every morning of gabapentin.
What?
Yeah, you think I'm gonna? I want you to really. You saw my medication list. You'd start tweaking too.
Yeah.
You'd start.
Gabapentin is awful.
It damaged my brain. I was not normal. I was hallucinating, and then Katrina happened, and Rita happened.
Franklin started hallucinating our dog.
Yeah.
I was on it in 2020. I was on 3,600 milligrams 3 times a day for neuropathy in 2020, and I was hallucinating. I cannot take it. I cannot take it. I cannot take it. I cannot take it. And it's a super common side effect. And I have to like really look at my mom whenever I look at this, and I go, yeah, maybe she didn't know. But then I have to remember the woman has a master's degree in special education.
Oh, shoot.
I didn't tell you that one. She has a master's degree in this. This is that's what I said. You want to hear? I want your reactions live to some of this stuff because,
every person that I know that has education in special ed or works in special ed is a piece of shit. I'm not saying every single one of them.
I'm not saying every single one is either. But you know what it was like watching my childhood best friend's little older brother, who was autistic enough he carried around straws, get mocked and pantsed and egged and physically assaulted and sexually assaulted on a daily basis at our middle school. And I was told to just turn a blind eye.
Oh my gosh.
I got called a Nazi on the regular because my maiden name is very German. And because I got people that love me so much. My maiden name is Goder. I grew up with that my whole life. But they were like, oh, you're German. Sprechen Sie Deutsch, you fucking Nazi? I'm sorry. That was my entire childhood was just all of these like, so yeah, I came up with stories. Yeah, I'm a Hawaiian princess because for a moment, I just want to love myself. I'm sorry, guys, that all of y'all have a family that loves you and takes care of you and is good for you. But I should have not been anybody's freaking punching bag. And I was.
Yeah, I mean, kids deal with it in different ways. And
kids are mean.
Yeah.
Kids are mean. No, right now we are currently dealing with in our school locally for us. My daughter, she is 8 years old. She's in the 3rd grade, just turned 9. 3rd grade came up to me and said, Mommy, I need a comeback. You need a comeback? What do you need a comeback for, kiddo? And she goes, there's a girl in my school who's making fun of my best friend. What do you mean she's making fun of your best friend? What is she saying? She's saying to my best friend that at least I have 2 healthy parents that love me. Because my daughter's best friend has divorced parents. And I told her, what can't she do? And she said, she can't spell the word mountain. Can you spell the word mountain? She spelled it out. I went, okay, baby. Next time she says something, laughs, or you need a moment to defend yourself, go, that's a lot of noise for somebody who can't spell mountain.
That's funny.
She used it. She went, that was really good.
Real quick, I see this comment from Colleen Garland. It says, I'm a special education teacher trying to change the narrative of bad teachers. It was disgusting to see what SPED teachers are doing. And by the way, I definitely do not mean all teachers. I know some great people that have worked in special ed, like fantastic, best people you've ever met. I know I've told this story on the podcast before, I think, but I've actually had a few different run-ins with shitty special ed teachers. But I used to be the TA in the guidance office in my high school during junior year. And so because of that, I would go and I would run all of the errands and the paperwork to different classrooms and stuff like that. And the special ed was in the portables in the very back of the school. So they were not even like in the same building as us. And I remember one time I went in there and, well, the first time there was like some little girl like strapped to like a bed, like strapped down. And I've
been in a restraint bed. It's extremely traumatic.
I saw that, but then the most terrifying thing I saw, it wasn't actually in the portables, it was in the bus loop. There were 2 girls, and from what I've come to understand, I believe that they were a product of incest.
Thank you, Colleen.
Yes, absolutely. But they were, from what I understand, I think they were a product of incest and had some severe mental delays.
My sister, my biological little sister, half sister, is a part of that community.
Oh, yeah, it's so heartbreaking. But I saw one of the girls had a ponytail and wasn't doing what the teacher was trying to get her to do. So the teacher grabbed her by the ponytail and started like yanking her onto the bus. I actually reported it. And my friend at the time, he had seen it too. And I didn't know the teacher's name, but I pointed to her face in the yearbook and they investigated it, but she still worked there.
No, they didn't. Let's be real. No, they didn't.
Investigated.
Yeah,
and
let's be real. I have
it's your word against mine.
Yeah, I'm only reason I'm gonna say that, and maybe today's day they might, but in 2002, I was discovered to be cutting off, and I have the IEP papers. My mom sent them to me last month. The IEP papers that say that I was cutting off my fingertips. I still have the scars. My fingertips are flat in certain spots because I was cutting them off in school. And they called my psychologist in for my 3rd grade IEP, and they said, yeah, she never showed any other signs of self-harm, so don't worry, it's just a temporary behavior.
The hell?
Cutting off your fucking fingertip?
With scissors. And shoving crayons in my ears so I would go deaf. I was screaming for help and not a single person came.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
I know, sorry. Like I said, some of this is going to be hard. It's a story.
No, that's why, when I created this channel before I had anybody on, I just wanted to tell people's stories.
That's what I believe in. And the story, if it doesn't help me, it'll help somebody else. So that they know that, hey, if you were a little kid and you were acting out because your mama was driving you insane, look, man, you're seen here. I was a freaking batshit crazy kid. It's okay. I used to climb trees and jump out of them into lakes and shoot snakes with freaking guns and capture alligator snapping turtles for money so that I could fit in with the other kids,
That sounds like you just knew how to have a good time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was a party, man. I'm always a good time.
You're just adventurous.
Okay. Colleen says, that's why I am so upset that I am wrongly being investigated for something I did not do. I one day will tell my story. I can't wait for that day. Yeah. Colleen, you are welcome to reach out to us and you can tell that story here. We're always looking for people to come on and share their stories. And if I get more people, I'll go on more than once a week.
I know, that'd be exciting.
Yeah. So, okay. So tell us about all of the different camps and facilities you were put in.
Okay, so I can list them for you, and I'm going to because I want to, since some of these don't exist and some of these are famous.
Yeah.
So maybe a listener might recognize it. I started with Seuss of the Carolinas, Spring Ridge Academy, Aspen Institute, Chrysalis School for Girls, Montana, Spring Ridge Academy, Rogers Memorial Hospital, Boulder Creek Academy, Kootenai Behavioral Health, back to Boulder Creek Academy, back to Kootenai Behavioral Health, back to Boulder Creek Academy, back to Kootenai Behavioral Health, back to Rogers Memorial, back to Boulder Creek Academy, Island View, Youth Care Institution, Alpine Academy, and then finally my adult program at 17 years old, where I definitely shouldn't have been with a 42-year-old woman, but I digress. The Mental Health Co-op in Houston, Texas. All between May 2nd, 2008 and July 4th, 2012.
Wow. Okay. You mentioned one of them. Thank you, Colleen, by the way. Aspen Institute.
Yes.
I've definitely heard about that.
Is that the same Aspen Institute that Prince Harry is on the board or something like that?
I'll Google it right now.
Google, because it's also going to be, you can look up, so Island View RTC and Aspen Institute are a part of the same company, which are also they're also, like, if you've heard of Utah Youth Village, I was a part of that. A lot of the places I was in were owned by evangelical churches and Mormon.
Prince Harry Prince Harry was a part of the Aspen Institute as a commissioner for its Commission on Information Disorder.
Mhm.
A role announced
There you go.
in March 2021, where he helped study misinformation.
This hurts. I told people I'm in the files somewhere, and they're like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "No, bitch, I promise you I am. I was fucking crazy."
Where he helped study misinformation and disinformation in the U.S. He served alongside co-chairs like Katie Couric and Chris Krebs to help develop solutions to the information disorder crisis, a mission aligned with its focus on online propaganda and media bias.
And we are letting a prince tell us what's misinformation.
Mm-hmm. We're
A
letting
prince
the
who,
people that convinced me I had borderline personality and bipolar to tell us about misinformation.
Mhm.
Definitely. Not to say anything there's anything wrong with bipolar. My son's father has it, and I'm so happy he's been able to get help. And bipolar is a very big monster, but I do not have it, and I
Yeah.
should not have been on Seroquel or lithium. Oh my god.
Oh shit. There's over 5 pages of data in the Epstein database on the Aspen Institute.
We're gonna get into that. Not tonight, but we're gonna get into that.
I'm gonna read this
because-
privately and see because a lot of the Epstein files are just articles that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with just stuff that he looked at.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
if there's over 5 pages, there's got to be something in there of note. I'm just gonna click on a random one and see. We don't have to go through all of it right now, but
No, we don't. But you should, at least, if you recognize that one, you should also recognize Island View RTC or anything like that, because that was one of the bigger programs that were a part of the beginning of hashtag Breaking Code Silence.
What did you say the name of that was?
Island View RTC.
Island View RTC.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay, can you
fuck.
tell us about that?
People
So-
are actually, sorry, I'm so sorry. Real
Go ahead.
quick, I'm reading real quick, and there are people like that represent the Aspen Institute that are directly.
With the
Messaging.
Rothschilds?
Where does it say Rothschild?
Right there.
Where did I miss? Oh fuck. I'm sorry. Okay, Shendong.
Yeah, in China.
In China.
Beijing.
Like I said, you'd be amazed on who's attached to what once you start
Desmond
digging.
Shum? Desmond Shum.
We are still on for Aspen. Can you give me some background on your partner, Dan Kinder?
That's going to be the Aspen, Colorado, but Aspen Institute is its whole own crazy big thing. And Aspen Institute was shut down because they were sticking us in isolation and drugging us and
So-
keeping us inside for months at a
Oh my
time.
god. Hi Jeff, just got back from Aspen. Have you been to the Aspen Institute? Seems like your kind of place. July 15th, right? Today's my birthday. Thought about you. Terry Kafka.
They used to stick us in a glass. I have a photo of Aspen Institute up on TikTok if you ever want to go take a look. It was the first time that I was ever heavily strip searched.
Really?
Mm-hmm. First time I did a squat and cough and got a cavity search.
Wow. And how old were you?
14. It was my third program.
Wow. Wow. Let me look over here real quick for a second.
People are inviting him to the Aspen Institute.
Yes, because they used to put us on display for them.
Kitty Boone.
Also known as, you should see if this one's in there. It's called Elevations RTC.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't trying to.
No, you're
interrupt
good.
a
You're
minute ago.
good. Like I said, this is such, like I said, you're gonna, if you want to make this a series, you're gonna have a series because we're gonna break down some crazy stuff. My dad, like, I'm not kidding. I'll send you the stuff on my dad. He is listed in the unredacted nuclear documents for the Aniwatak Atoll. He was stationed by the Department of Interior Nuclear Department and the U.S. Air Force in the early 1980s out of New Mexico into Singapore, Malaysia, and the Great Barrier Reef to research the destruction that the nuclear bombs from Aniwatak caused so that they could figure out how to stop the continual radiation leakage. So the big domes out there and all those projects from the 80s, that's my dad.
Wow.
What was the other one that you asked me to look up?
Elevations RTC, also known as Island View Residential Treatment Center.
Nothing.
Good.
Okay, Island View.
Yeah, Island View Residential Treatment Center.
Let's see. Joy says
Doesn't
Terry
look it's on there.
Kafka says
Hallelujah.
entry-
We'll be thankful for that one.
It doesn't mean that I can't find it under like a different name or
That's
something.
what I was saying. You might find it in there because that one's actually like super duper famous for the breaking code silence. That was one of the major ones. So
Terry Kafka says the entry in Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday book was written by Ghislaine Maxwell's request and is out of character for him. Oh shit! It's some. Oh.
ooh, we ain't talking about Epstein. Not today.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Not today. It's one of those things that yes, we are listed as a part of that. And so the community of us as a part of Breaking Code Silence, that's why we have fought so hard for legislative change. Because none of us should have gone through what we did. We didn't have rights. We were told that we weren't allowed to call CPS. We weren't allowed to speak to the police about the way that we were being treated. We weren't allowed to speak to our parents without being monitored. There's not a single thing that we were allowed to do to try to go get help if we believed that we were being abused. And that's what matters more.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I've heard from most of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry that we.
No, you're good. You're good.
That I just I just I had to look it up out of sick curiosity, and good lord, it looks like there's a lot to look through on my own time.
Yeah. Definitely do that.
Like I said, you got a rabbit hole here with me, and I'm glad I finally got a hold of somebody to talk about it because
I've definitely heard of the Aspen Institute, but I'm trying to think of what context I've heard of it in.
I've only heard it in the context of Prince Harry.
Prince Harry.
Yeah, because
And so
I
it's
followed
shut down
that
now,
stuff.
the Aspen Institute.
So the place, the school was shut down. Is this the same people that own the actual Aspen Institute, or?
well, that's my thing. I don't really know anymore because it closed down and doesn't exist anymore. And I can dig and dig and dig, but they have to try to suppress it so freaking hard. You'd have to go to Breaking Code Silence, to be fair. These are questions for a lot of much bigger but very close friends of mine.
Okay, well, we'll dive into it independently from this and see what
Yeah, I'll shoot you to some people and to some advocates that I know so you can ask them some questions. These are some people that spoke with Biden as well. So
Okay. Okay, let's get back on track. I'm trying to figure out where we
I'm
should
so
go.
sorry.
with this.
everywhere.
I'll be right back. I need to go take some headache medicine.
No, you're
I
good.
am so sorry.
Oh, it's not you. I feel it right here.
No, I got you. I was just like, I also know that like this is
Headache inducing, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know what? We're just going to get into Patrick Middleton.
Let's do it. Let's dive there because we
This-
set up how I got there.
Okay, this is going to be trigger warning for everybody, just so everybody knows. I freaked out when I found out, but
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so Celeste, tell us how you met Patrick Middleton and what your relationship was like.
So I'm also going to have to agree with you. Big content disclosure, guys. Big trigger warning.
Mhm.
I am the ex-wife of the notorious sex offender, human trafficker, and pedophile Patrick Middleton. I met Patrick when I was 17 years old and being irresponsible on the internet because it was the first time I'd had access to unfiltered internet since I was 13 years old. I was on a pornographic website doing the do, clicked an ad, and wound up on a website I probably should have never been on.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 days before my birthday. And to me, it didn't really matter that I was lying about my age because in the state of Texas, the consent age was 17. And I honestly had been groomed by the troubled teen industry and was in a rebellious phase because I was finally free.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Middleton, within 45 minutes of messaging each other on this platform, picked me up outside of my sister's home down the street and slept with me in his car in a random neighborhood in San Antonio, in the Stone Oak area. He was on parole for aggravated sexual assault of a minor, possession of child pornography, and online solicitation of a minor. I was unaware of all of this. I did not know. Had no idea. The next day, because I was spending a little time with my sister for my 18th before my 18th birthday. Every night after they'd go to bed, I'd sneak back out. I know it wasn't the right choice. I know that I made a mistake there. He knew that, because when he would talk to me, I finally had somebody that wasn't my family or the people involved with treatment. I finally could tell somebody about what happened to me. And because he is a pedophile, and because this man is a sexual predator, he knew how to manipulate my insecurities and my struggles with my family into becoming his perfect victim, who would never speak out, never tell anyone, and would fall in line because it meant that somebody loved me and took care of me in a way that I didn't feel in that moment. I knew Patrick Middleton as Patrick Midliston from July 2012 until November 2012. By that time, my mother had kicked me out of the home. I hadn't lived at home since June 2nd. So when she kicked me out, I didn't have anywhere to go. So I called the only person I knew, which was Patrick. And I got on a bus from Houston to San Antonio. And I was trapped in that relationship until he was arrested for his second round of sex offenses, which is voyeurism. And in 2016, I had inherited $35,000 from my grandfather's passing through a Junus education fund. We had just gotten married in 2014. So yeah, this is 2015. Sorry, timelines all get a little funky. So 2015 is when he originally did this, because my daughter, and I know that the federal government is protecting me because of this, because I was never questioned. I've never been approached. And every single time I've spoken to them, they're like, yeah, you're good. You're not doing anything illegal, right? I'm like, yeah, I got you. So they don't really bother with me. But I inherited, my grandfather died in 2014. I inherited my $35,000, the first set, in 2015, right after my eldest, was born. And we went on a road trip. Rented a car so that it wasn't in his name. He knew what he was doing. He rented a car through budget so it wouldn't pull up in his name. Drove us from San Antonio up through Salt Lake City, through Seattle, and back down through Oregon, Sacramento, Las Vegas to home. He bought a fake nanny cam using my inheritance money because he had barred me from access to debit cards.
Oh, wow.
He bought, every single time that I escaped, he would call the bank and shut off my debit card. There was no way for me to move the money out or to get it out from him. And he held me hostage. He made sure I would never be able to leave, took my passport, made sure I didn't know how to drive, made sure that I didn't know how to work a job, made sure that all I could do was sit in my house terrified. Every single day. Because every time I tried to leave, he would leave work and show up where I was. He physically threatened my friends and my family. He doxed me. He made sure that I dropped out of college, because if I went to college, that meant that I was talking to other men. So I would leave him. When I tried to approach the topic of, before we got married, hey man, I want to be my own person, you be your own person, and maybe we do where you live in your own house and I live in my house, and we try dating to see if that will help our relationship issues, things that I had been taught about in therapy, right? I tried real marital therapy options with him and he wouldn't take a single one. And it at the end became extremely violent. I also had friends that he had either assaulted or he had affairs with. There are people that I'm no longer friends with because they had full-blown affairs with this man. And then used it as a gotcha point against me about how, look at you fell for this dude, you got with this dude. And to be fair, by the time that I realized what was going on, do you think anyone was going to help me? Do you think anybody was? No one helped. Not a single person did anything to help me. And whenever I asked for help, I was the one being blamed. I'd called my parents and be like, I want to come home. Can you please come get me? You're telling me that my parents can't show up at the police at this dude's house and help me get out of there if I'm feeling scared? You're telling me my sister, who worked at Haven for Hope and obviously knew how to handle situations like this because she's a social worker, you're telling me she can't come help me and get me out of this situation? I'm 18 years old. I'm 19 years old. We got married when I was 20. We had our first child when I was 21. I had 2 under 2 at 22. And the only reason why I was able to escape was because he got arrested for the voyeurism charge in 2017, 2 days after my daughter's birthday.
Oh.
My daughter actually remembers, that's one of her earliest memories of her dad, is waking up from her nap and looking out the window of her room to see her dad and I talking while he's leaning up against the front of the police car.
Wow. That's definitely going to leave an impression.
I am doing my best for my daughter, and it has not been easy because of the damage that this did.
No, I can't imagine. I genuinely can't. Now, here's what freaked me out is that this man is not incarcerated at this moment. This man is free.
This man is free. This man is living in the Seattle, Washington metropolitan area. He has multiple copycat offenders that live in his halfway house with him. The state of Washington is having to pass new laws on how they handle the extensive list of sex offenders that live in these what are called loophole properties. So what they do is they're nonprofits, organizations that act more as a landlord to these inmates than an actual sex offender care facility.
Yeah.
And that's how they get around these things. This man in 2019, met a girl. I'm not going to name her name because it doesn't matter. Met a woman, and she already had, I think it was like 6 to 8 children. He committed a crime against one of those children.
Oh my gosh.
And he went on the run. The only reason why I knew was because he had stopped calling his children. And this was before our divorce ever went through. And I was just, okay, he went to jail for voyeurism. He says he's going to try to do better. Let's figure this out. He never even finished getting off of probation and parole last time. So he did what he did. And this woman was a nurse, a medical professional. And when he knew that they were coming to look for him, because his Google search said, at least the one that I could get off to the police before he got me out of the account, was, can the police or CPS question my child without me present? I went to the police and went, what is going on? And they said, he is being investigated for this. Can you help us catch him? We need proof that he's going over there still and communicating with this woman. That was all they ever asked of me. And I went, yeah, sure. Let me go see. You think I was expecting his password from 4 or 5 years prior to still work on his brand new bank account that I didn't know anything of? I guessed his login. I guessed that thing. I was like, okay, well, I know that this is what it would have been back in the day. Let me try that. Boom, let me write it. And I was like, oh, he's like dumb. So of course I screenshotted everything that I could, downloaded everything I could, and got it out to the Seattle State, the Washington State Police and the Seattle PD and Thurston County, right? I made sure they had that. But like, even after this woman found out that he did this to her daughter, she kept visiting him. That's why when you read in the police reports and in the news reports that he's spotted with a woman, because she was with him until he crossed state lines out of Washington. She was with him, paying for every single one of those hotels to cover it up.
People that allow themselves to be around people like that are just as bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I see this comment from Lulu Busby saying, how can he be allowed to run a halfway house when he's a convict?
Because it's a loophole. It's a rental agreement. They say that it's a halfway house, and then he signs a rental agreement with the owner. He now has been renovating the entirety of his halfway house so that he doesn't have to pay rent at all, nor does he have to pay child support. So he's now a partial co-owner on a halfway house that nobody knows that he's co-owner of.
And what's the name of the halfway house?
It no longer exists because of the massive lawsuit around this, and it is called the Journey Project Tukwila. And if you Google the Journey Project Tukwila lawsuit or news, it'll pull up the Seattle Gazette talking about what I'm talking about with the new laws with the governor. Because in 2014, and I'm going to pull it up for you, 2024, Journey Project Tukwila, Washington.
You would think so, Lulu.
Yeah, the only experience that I have with a halfway house in any way, shape, or form is my ex's dad's ex-girlfriend ran a halfway house, and she was also a criminal, as were both of her children. And I think that the people that were primarily getting sent to this halfway house were people that were drug addicts and alcoholics and stuff like that. And they would she would allow them to hide alcohol and drugs in random spots, let them get away with doing it. Her kids were doing it with the people. And I remember I ended up, when I was 17, we dropped off one of the women because she went from living at this halfway house with them to, after the woman and my ex's dad broke up, one of the women from the halfway house came to live with him. And she was their live-in maid for a little bit, which is weird as hell anyway.
Yeah.
But then when I was 17, we had to pick her up from this house she was staying at. And she was going to come back and live with them. And she was super intoxicated. And we think she was having an overdose or something. And she left a bunch of alcohol and guns in the car.
What?
And so we had to we just left her at the hospital, and we made sure she got to a hospital. And we never saw her again.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually pulled it up for you. It's from the Seattle Times, and there's a Washington man who slipped his GPS. It's from October 3rd, 2024, and I sent you the link for it. Washington man who slipped off GPS monitor caught in Portland, and his identical crime, his name is Damon Blevins, Damion Blevins, Blevins. He committed an identical crime to Patrick. Right there. It's, if you got to, there you go. That is identical. I know you read Patrick's last one about him cutting off his ankle monitor. You're going to read this and you're going to see the correlation. I'm just going to let you read it for a minute.
Okay. A man who escaped from a restrictive housing complex in Tukwila and cut off his GPS monitor was taken into custody in Portland after a 3-day multi-state search. The Department of Corrections on Thursday afternoon arrested Damion Blevins, 33, outside a Portland convenience store. He will be extradited back to Washington, spokesperson Christopher Wright said. Blevins was last seen Monday at King Street Station in Seattle and likely took a train from Seattle to Portland, Wright said. The agency has no knowledge of new crimes, but is still gathering details on what happened during the 3 days. Blevins was convicted in 2017 of second-degree assault on a woman in Federal Way. After his prison sentence, he was deemed a sexually violent predator after a court found him to be more likely than not to commit new predatory offenses if not held at a secure facility. As a result, he was civilly committed into the care and custody of the Department of Social and Health Services, which operates a barbed wire ensconced treatment facility on McNeil Island known as the Special Commitment Center. Blevins had only recently been granted permission by a court to live in less restrictive conditions in the Tukwila neighborhood under the supervision of a transition team, which includes representatives from DHS and the Department of Corrections. Both agencies said Thursday that the focus had been capturing Blevins, but further investigation will go on to what went wrong. Now that is done, We will take a look at what could have been done differently, Wright said. Obviously, this is not a good situation. We will work with DOC once this is resolved to determine what happened here. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office stated that its attorneys intend to pursue criminal charges against Blevins under Washington law, sexually violent predator escape, which includes traveling out of state without court approval and tampering with an electronic monitoring device, is a Class A felony with a minimum prison sentence of 60 months. The incident is among the more severe lapses in the DSHS and DOC supervision of community housing placements in recent years. In 2021, Brian Scott Jones was able to cut off his GPS ankle monitor and abscond from a supervised housing placement in Spokane, but was arrested hours later. Nearly 35 years ago, Washington became the first state to use civil commitment to indefinitely detain people on the basis of their criminal history, mental health, and their perceived risk of committing new crimes. But the DSHS program to treat and supervise residents on and off McNeil Island has long been criticized and received little independent scrutiny despite costing more than $81 million to operate in 2024. Wow. For years, commitment to the facility amounted to a life sentence. But a recent investigation by the Seattle Times found that in the last decade, more people have been released from McNeil Island facility than admitted. The investigation found that 1 in 4 people released without supervision went on to commit a new crime, and 1 in 7 of these crimes were of a serious nature. However, for nearly 3/4 of those released, there was no record of new offenses. Wow. Many are at an advanced age when they were released, and some died soon after in intervening years. Over the decade, more than 330 people have been granted less restrictive alternative placements, according to DSHS data. As of August, just 131 people remained in total confinement on the island. In 2021, the legislature gave DSHS additional oversight of such a community placements after public outcry over the lack of notification and concerns raised by lawmakers and policy advisors that the community placement program had grown unwieldly, whatever that is.
Yeah.
While Blevins was committed to McNeil Island in 2019, he had twice been granted permission to live in less restrictive conditions at the state-run transition facility in King County, one of 2 such facilities in the state. This is a long article. But in late July, after the recommendation of 2 forensic psychologists and a sex offender treatment provider, King County Judge Jamie Hawk signed off on the new living arrangement in Tuckawilla. The experts in this case, including for the defense, prosecution, and the Special Commitment Center, agreed that a supervised release was in Blevins' best interest and would still ensure the safety of the community. It is my professional opinion that the conditions could be imposed that would adequately protect the community. A psychologist at the Special Commitment Center wrote in Blevins' 2022 annual review saying, "It is in his best interest at this time." Blevins attended ongoing treatment on and off McNeil Island for his propensity for sexual violence. According to the treatment notes, in 2016, Blevins brutally choked and raped a woman, threatening to slit her throat. According to a probable cause determination from King County Prosecuting Attorney Office, he had previously been charged in multiple incidents of theft and forgery and had juvenile convictions for indecent exposure. On Wednesday, before the arrest, King County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Michael Mahadson told a judge in a court motion that Blevins' actions this week appears to be willful. This, he wrote, implicates serious community safety concerns. Okay. So,
As you can see, the people that are being housed at this location should not be housed in the general public.
I agree.
And in our studio chat, I linked the two other Seattle Times articles that specifically speak on the laws that are being passed and the how much money the Tukwila the Journey Project was receiving and loans, and it's not a pretty topic of conversation, but when I contacted the Tukwila project or the Journey Project Tukwila, and yeah, like I said, I can read it for you. I have it as well if you need
Okay.
me to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you. Let me I can pull them up for you.
His eyes look so dead.
Yeah, no, he's dead inside, and it is what it is. So here we go. We have there we go. I have mine up for you. I have my share screen. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
it over there.
Oh, awesome.
But
Okay.
let me know when you want me to go ahead for you. There we go. At Washington Homes for Sex Crime Rehabilitation, warnings go ignored. And I'm going to give you all two separate things to look at, to read through here, because there's laws that are changing because of how bad it is. Editor's note: this story contains description of sexual violence. Oh yes, Joy is correct. A halfway house requirements vary heavily by location, and that's what these articles go into on why this is really why Patrick is able to continue committing his crimes right now. When new owners purchased the pale blue colonial in rural Arlington, a century-old house behind a white picket fence, they named it Eagle's Nest. Here, they told Snohomish County they would rent the 3 upstairs bedrooms to 9 men for a discipleship program associated with a Kingdom Life Assembly congregation. The landlord, Pastor Steve Parker, said his mission was to provide housing and spiritual support to people who had a history of sex crimes by fostering a home environment that promotes a family atmosphere, according to state and county public records. The timing was fortuitous. It was 2012, and Washington's Department of Social and Health Services needed to house people who were increasingly granted conditional release from its Special Commitment Center. The remote facility on McNeil Island in South Puget Sound detains people who have been civilly committed into state custody because their history of violent sex crimes and psychiatric disorders may make them more likely to reoffend. A court had ruled that indefinite detention was illegal without treatment and a pathway to release. Eagle's Nest became one of more than 24 homes statewide that the agency has paid to house hundreds of people moving off the island. Yet amid a growing reliance on supervised housing, the Special Commitment Center uses mostly unregulated providers and operates its community program under a fragmented system of oversight that has compromised resident and public safety, a Seattle Times investigation found. Residents were placed at homes where they have been able to consistently violate court orders, including absconding from supervision and obtaining drugs and child sexual abuse images or videos, according to inspection records. One man had rope, a knife, and a white mask, and DSHS continued to employ someone who was accused of raping a teenager. He later committed a sexual offense against a colleague at work. The gaps in oversight and state accountability allowed individual home operators to collect payments despite ongoing problems. This is a critical moment for one of Washington's most isolated programs. Far more people are now released into the community each year than are committed to the island, changing how and where sexual rehabilitation occurs. Yet the program continues to operate largely unchecked. Years of proposed legislation, including this session, have only chipped away at the sweeping reforms lawmakers say are necessary to fix a broken system. While each person on conditional release has a transition team, including a corrections officer, social worker, sex offender therapist, and often a community chaperones, the homes themselves have little such scrutiny. Instead, they essentially operate under court-ordered landlord agreements. Without a license or contract, the state doesn't have the power to set enforceable standards or terminate a placement without going through the courts. In the few cases when the agency has entered into contracts, it has chosen providers with known problems. Any system is probably far from perfect. Kevin Bovin Comp, Assistant Secretary for Behavioral Health for DSHS, but I think the system is working the way it is designed. But Governor Bob Ferguson acknowledged the program needs improvement. I know how serious these cases are. Ferguson, who prosecuted sexual civil commitment cases as Washington's Attorney General, wrote an email. It's a high bar to designate someone a sexually violent predator. It's reserved for people who are likely to continue to commit sexually violent crimes unless the state intervenes. Ferguson declined an interview, but wrote, in my In my inaugural address, I said I'm not here to defend government. I'm here to reform it. One area that needs improvement is the LRA, less restrictive alternative community housing system. As a new governor, I'm looking forward to taking my experience at the AG's office to improve public safety across our state. So as you can see, they aren't regulated. There's no regulation. And there's a whole bill, and I have the second one. And the bill that got signed in is HB 1457, and I'll pull that up for you. If I could figure out how to do this.
No, you're good. Joy, we did see that, and that was terrible. I'm not going to put it on screen, but it was a Rush advertisement. I don't know what Rush
It
is.
looks like it was.
It's
like
a video game.
dating. Oh, it looked like a dating app thing.
Yeah, Rush is a video game.
Really?
Or app. It's like one of the other. I've heard of it because I know that there's IMVU. So like Second Life and IMVU, Patrick lives for those places, and Kick and all of those. And then if it's the other one, it's dating.
Yeah, it's a dating.
Oh, dating doesn't need
dating.
effort. Rush does the work.
And it's got like some really young looking girl who, I mean, maybe she was an adult, but she
looks very
Yeah.
young, and
That's-
it's like 20 with like a slash in it, and she's like getting her hair pulled up.
Mm-hmm. You would be amazed how common just these types of sex offenses just exist in a bubble. And people and look, as a part of reform, there are people on that free. That's crazy. That was a random ad. That's insane. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But anyway, the person, I don't need to argue about my autism.
Yeah.
Level 3 autism.
Oh,
to be
sorry.
fair,
Yeah, I was trying
You're
to
good.
put it
You're
up
good.
there. And
You're good. I'm going to educate real quick. So level 3 autism, there's two forms. There's the form that comes with intellectual disability, and then there's the form that comes with physical disability. I have a physical disability. I was rated as level 3 autism because I was physically violent with people, and I have meltdowns, and I have agoraphobia and other things that I struggle with that you may not be able to understand because I don't look like your stereotypical level 3 autism. But you don't end up in the homes that I was in, and you do not end up in the situations that I was in if you do not get registered at least with a level 2. And I need to make that very clear. I was in special education homes. I was in special education summer camps where level 1s are not allowed to go because there is a difference between a level 1 and a level 2 and then further on. And I understand that not everybody is going to view me that way, and I'm used to that. I've been dealing with it my whole life, and that's welcome to being high intellect. So y'all didn't do anything wrong. Don't worry. I've been dealing with it my whole life.
No, sometimes I see comments and I'm like, should I put them up? And
I don't think
okay.
you fully read
I don't
through
think
that.
I read that one.
That's okay.
I was giving you a little like tap, like don't, and then she's like, oh, and then she. Yeah. Anyway, I love you.
Sorry.
It happens. Don't worry.
It's
Not
okay.
a violent tap, by the way. Not like how like Gypsy tries to control Ryan.
Oh my God, don't get me started. Okay, my thing is why isn't the kid talking yet?
Yeah.
I will say that there's some kids that I've been around.
My children are also delayed. That's why I brought it up.
Okay.
I have 3 special needs children, and one of them didn't talk until she was 2 years old. So, yeah. So I was like, I think we all know why.
Yeah, we know some kids that are quite a bit older than that have a very hard time speaking. So I don't know.
I'm hoping that all the best for Aurora every single day of every single day.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. You always look out for the kiddos. That's my thing. At the end of the day, I can deal with adult to adult interactions, but the moment you bring kids into it, my gloves come off.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, no, I
100%.
agree. And I don't even actually like speaking about her child because
I get it.
It's not something that
Not my business.
Not
Yeah.
my business either. That's what I was like. So anyway, back to what we're talking to.
Okay. So with all that being said, basically at the end of the day, Patrick Middleton is a piece of crap.
Yep.
And
Yes.
okay, so let's get back to some of the questions. Okay.
Like I said, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into this.
No, you're good.
And every question reveals more questions.
Actually,
yeah.
you've gone over all of my questions.
So until Dylan, I was like, I can answer. I need to jot down a quick notes for my mom, but once we get to Patrick, I could just go. Because
Yeah.
I've gone viral a couple times talking about him. To
Oh,
be
you have.
fair,
Really?
yes. So he knows that I'm talking about him. I have screenshots from 2 years ago. He won't text me back right now. So I have said, for anybody questioning, I have sole legal custody of my daughters. He does not have visitation. He does not have jack crap. So if anybody's wondering, he doesn't have jack crap. I have sole custody of both of our children. But at the end of the day, he has made choices. He continues to show up and go, I'm going to call DCFS and I'm going to harass you until you give me my kids and I'm going to hire a private investigator. Go away. Like, at the end of the day, dude, you haven't been around. Your daughter is 10 years old this year and you got arrested when she was 2 years old and you haven't been around for 8 years. I understand that you want to get to know your children, but at this point, you're going to have to cut your losses until she's 18. And to be fair, your background, every single person, his parole officers told. So when he contacted me the day after he got off parole. So I couldn't get a hold of his probation officer and find out who it was and let him know that he was getting a hold of me and trying to harass me. Because when I called him up, he said, I wish you had called me 2 days ago. I wish you called me 2 days ago and I would have put him back in prison. And I would have extended his sentence because we could have done that. I am so sorry. There is nothing I can do because he did that intentionally. Run and hide. I understand why you went through a legal name change. I understand why you're hiding. And I was like, yeah, thank you. We used to have screenshots because he goes off about how in our divorce record it says that I was going to give him video visitation because that was the only way I was going to get him to sign the divorce paperwork. But you know who nixed that? Not me. It was the Department of Corrections, state of Washington, that went, no, we're not approving you. I got approved for video visitation. They took it away in the middle of a video visit because he was going off on me. So
can you tell us, you told me earlier that part of the reason why a lot of his stuff isn't online is that his family has tried to bury all of these stories.
Mhm.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my mother-in-law, her name is Marty. And Marty was one of the leaders in the regional Southwest Methodist Church when this happened. And so was Phil. They were actually a part of the music department and were one of the leading heads. Patrick had played across the country in church concerts and other things. So he had access to children, I think, across this country. And I know for a fact he'd been preying on kids a lot younger than what he was accused of. Remember, he got convicted at 18. So that tells you how long he'd been doing it.
Yeah.
Just how long. And like, this is a really, God, if this woman ever hears this, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I did not mean to just say this. Anyway, like, when we got a new weather girl, Patrick knew who she was because she was his, at the time's best friend's ex-girlfriend. And so when she did her very first day, he sat there and described to me what it was like watching his best friend lose his virginity to that girl through a window.
Weather girl? What is that?
A
The weather girl.
Oh, the weather girl. Okay.
The new weather girl sat there and described it in heavy detail to our entire family, and they thought it was funny.
Are you serious?
Marty had naked photos of herself hanging up throughout her home and like shoved them in my hands. And I was 18 years old. And within a week of knowing this woman, I knew her entire sexual history, including the multiple illegal abortions that she had in Missouri back in the 60s and a bunch of stuff that was none of my business at all.
Oh.
And before the 2008 crash, which is also when Patrick got arrested, so obviously that family lost everything. His parents paid a lot of money to make sure that the news, and it was a sealed, quiet case, because he was one of the first cases of online solicitation of a minor out of Bexar County, at least to that level, because he groomed a 13-year-old girl and tried to cover it up. As you saw, I found out today with you, and I have the records up right now. I found out today that he was a fugitive out of San Antonio as well in 2008. I was not made aware of that. The family actually covered that up. The family hid all of this from me. They made sure I didn't know the full story. They minimized it. His ex-wife, who I'm in contact with, has minimized it. Yeah, well, I mean, the boobs were big enough that if you didn't see her face, you wouldn't know. Those are the words that have been said to me about a 13-year-old victim of his.
So people like him deserve to die. Honestly, they don't deserve
To be fair,
forgiveness.
his sister should not legally be allowed to work as a elementary school music teacher either.
And these people were praise and worship people in the church.
Worst people are always in the church.
Yeah.
They knew Patrick had an issue. I was surrounded by laughing stories about how him and his brother Kevin would get high on coke and gangbang, and then Patrick, when he was like 13, 14, 15, would crawl up on the neighbor's roof and fall through skylights because he'd watch the girls changing through their windows. And I was like, y'all, and they're like, yeah, and then, because dad's an attorney and has attorney friends, we just paid for it to go away.
Oh my
Bear
goodness.
County let that family pay for multiple, I think a decade worth of sex offenses to go away. But because Patrick was finally an adult, they couldn't make it go away. Because it's quite sick how many times I heard that family brag about being high on some pretty heavy duty drugs, raping girls. And they're going to say, that's not what it was. Yeah, I'm sorry. What do you mean you're telling me about a girl who used to scream so hard and pain whenever she slept with your friend because he was too big? And all of y'all were slapping hands and laughing in the living room while this happened.
What the hell?
That's not funny. It was sick. And when I would go to them, like, guys, help me. He's starting to abuse me. We have a little girl. What do I do? They were like, I mean, it's Patrick, man. If you want to divorce him, divorce him. I went to jail in 2018 for stealing $105 worth of food to feed my 2 children after I broke up, after he went to prison and I had nobody.
What?
And that family worked with DCFS to try to take my children from me. They failed, obviously, but not a single person in that family came to my help when Patrick got arrested. Marty's actually the one who turned Patrick in when she found out about the news article about the voyeurism. So she didn't call me. She didn't warn me when I called her saying, please help. I don't have formula. I don't know how to drive. I don't have diapers. I've used everything. I've used up all my cloth diapers. The water got turned off at the house because he stopped paying and I didn't know. Marty, please help, please help. And my mom won't pick up the phone because she thinks I'm a fucking liar. Because Patrick fucking wouldn't pay the bills, and my mom sold us a work truck, and he was a construction worker, and so we owned a deck and patio company. We made really good money doing it. I'm a fantastic marketer. We made really good money, but our truck, our 2002, and I hope anybody that's a blue collar worker will recognize this truck, 2002 F-150 Lariat edition. Our engine blew. My mom had given it to us as a wedding gift, and we had to pay her $5,000 extra. You saw that email about that, and I want to clarify something. We took care of that truck. We called her because we took it to 7 different mechanics, including the semi-mechanic that lived across the street. And they all said we needed a new engine, and our work truck's broken. We can't get $2,000 to replace the engine. My work truck's broken. I can't get to work. So we called my mom, who has the lien on the vehicle, and said, please tack it on the back. We'll keep paying. We've been paying. Please, please, please. Gives us the middle finger. So the day after Christmas, 2016, I didn't get any Christmas presents. I got a lawsuit because instead of paying her for a broken truck, we went and we bought a new vehicle so we could get back to work. And he scammed a lot of people. I had people show up at our door that were like with guns, threatening to hurt me and my child, looking for him, because he didn't care. He does not care. He and people like him do not care about your safety. They do not care about how things hurt you. They don't care about your reputation because everything that they do is for their own personal pleasure and power. And they will get off on anything, whether it's humiliating you in front of all of your friends, cheating on you constantly, getting nudes out of a girl that looks like you to show them to you and compare your body pre-baby to their body, and they haven't had kids. And they don't really care. He didn't care. There was nothing but a power struggle there. And my mom knew that. She knew what was happening, and she didn't care either. And so I had to pick myself up by my own bootstraps when I had nobody left in Seattle and make it back home and make it through a different abusive relationship to get where I am today. And now I'm another homeowner before the age of 30. I've traveled the world. I have a 5-acre farm, and I have custody of all 3 of my kids, and I've won all my lawsuits. So
I'm proud of you.
Congratulations on just figuring it out as best as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing ever fixes itself and is perfect at the end, but
nope, nothing's ever perfect. I had a criminal record for 8 years. I'm currently, and I'm going to say it, I'm currently on the 18th. So next week, I get to go back to court to get my current court case dismissed. Part of my neurological condition is I wake up with amnesia now, and sometimes I don't know where I am. And if you push me too far, because as you know, all the medications I've been on, I will fist fight you. And I had an episode back in December. I had been up for 3 days. I just, insomnia happened, and my husband called for 5150, and our local police station arrested me for domestic violence.
Wow. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I had a good laugh with the girls in jail. It doesn't really bother me. I've seen the inside of a jail cell before. It doesn't bother me, but I'm happy that I was able to get it fixed. But I wish that people would take a look at what may be causing someone to throw their fists up first. Always make sure, because to be fair, you'll see I go doe eye, I go big eyes, and I'm terrified. You can tell I'm not all there.
Mhm.
And a part of that is neurological, from my neurological condition, but a part of that is, to be real, I got beaten by that man for years. This was that man from 2012 to 2017.
So
Almost
question,
18.
when you say you have like amnesia, is it when you get in a fight, you don't know what happened, and you wake up and there's bodies on the floor, basically? Is that what?
Nope, I'll wake up and I won't even know who my kids are. And this is a new condition. This is a new thing for me.
What?
This is what we're testing me for. Welcome to DCTN1. Perry syndrome, which is one of the main conditions that come with the DCTN1 mutation, comes with psychiatric changes. The other option is ALS, distal hereditary motor neuropathy number 7, and Charcot-Marie tooth. And we don't know what mine is. We're still researching and finding out, because it's just me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and explain that a little bit, because you said that you are the only one with this diagnosis.
I am. DCTN1. Believe this is me. Yes, this one is me. Just so that y'all can kind of see it, I would like people to see this, because it's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
especially good to see it, since a lot of people might not understand, or
they may think I'm lying, or they may not understand. So this is what's called DCTN1. You're going to see that it says uncertain significance, but you see these 2 stars?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did we get a new one? We got a new one, guys. We got a new one.
What does that mean?
That means my buddy. I got number 2.
What? What's going on?
number 2, what?
This is the second person. This is me. This one's me.
So there's
This
2
is the
people.
second person.
Oh, wow. Wow. Awesome.
Well, is it awesome that it's the second person?
Hey, at least,
or is it just
at
to
least,
not feel alone.
At least there's more to pull from, more research to pull from.
I check once a week. And this just got put in February. I haven't checked it in a couple weeks. February 23rd of this year, the second person got discovered.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I hope to God, whoever they are, they find me.
Yeah, you're not
Yep.
alone. Oh my god.
Because they have ALS and they have distal hereditary motor neuropathy type 7B and this. So they don't know. They don't know which one it is. It's one of these. And I'm up here. This one's me. Condition not provided. Contributing to the aggregate classification. Contributing to the aggregate classification. That means we're finally going to get research.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is
So I'm going to explain it.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's actually super cool to catch live.
You're actually making me cry. I
So
said I don't cry.
you can see it. It's my birthday. So Gypsy Rose and I have the same birthday, but you know what? My birthday is cooler because it's on here 2019 when it was first discovered. and put into actual classification because it was the second person within literature to ever be discovered. I was the first person outside of literature. Now there's 2. And I'm about to see my geneticist next week too, and I get to tell her, because that means she gets to hook up with whoever is doing that, and we have a neurologist already ready to research, and we have a research team waiting.
That's awesome.
Oh, you're making me cry.
I have a terminal illness, and there's finally going to be enough people we can start naming it. I made a joke for the last 4 years since I found out. I've been making the joke. I'm going to name it. Whoever you are, if you're out there and you find me, get with me. We're going to name it something hilarious.
Just so you guys don't, so you guys know, Celeste found me because of our Gypsy Rose content. And because she has a rare disorder and suffered with Munchausen by proxy. So, yeah.
This is huge. So this is mine, and it's the what it does is it changes our to like a histamine. It changes the protein, so they're a lot slower moving through. And I've been getting paralyzed from the outside in. That's what's happening, and that's why we don't really know what's happening with me and why there's so many here, because it could be any of them. It could be any of them, and I can't wait. I can't wait. This is huge. Because Perry syndrome, it starts on the outside. And as we know what ALS does, but Perry syndrome and what DCTN1 does is it paralyzes you from the outside in. And then eventually what usually kills us, and this is a trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Within 5 years of onset, most of us kill ourselves.
Wow.
That's why the survival rate is so low, is because Perry syndrome right here I'll give you the definition. Perry syndrome is an autosomal dominant neurodegenerative disorder classically characterized by adult onset Parkinsonism and depression, followed by weight loss and respiratory hypoventilation. The phenotype has subsequently been expanded to include features that overlap with other neurodegenerative conditions, including frontotemporal dementia and progressive supranuclear palsy. There is an intrafamilial variation in the manifestation of the disorder. Mutation in the DCTN1 gene can also cause autosomal distant hereditary motor neuronopathy 14 and confer increased susceptibility to ALS. So, yeah. So to know that I'm not alone anymore is a great feeling. I'm gonna be real with you. It's a good feeling.
Some of the stuff that you were just reading off, I'm actually going to have to talk to you about that, because I know somebody with some of those symptoms, and they
Please
share
do.
a lot of
Please.
similarities with you.
I have a clinical researcher on my team. I do not see a neurologist with my hospital. I see a clinical researcher.
Okay, yeah, they're
So
actually
please, anybody. I was told that if I can get anybody with similar symptoms to me to just come get tested, we will get your test done for free.
okay.
To find out who else is out there, because what I am dealing with is terrifying doctors. Because I went from being fully active and athletic and everything in 2020 to full-blown scoliosis, and I'm developing a hole in my heart.
You know, holy crap. My husband and I were reading about Marfan syndrome, and
that was one of the things they looked at for me.
And there was there's a Dietz disease, some kind of disease or disorder. No, it's the eye and the ear switched around, but still, it's like Lion Dietz or something like that.
That's our last name.
Yeah, that's our last name. So, that's very interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to talk to you now.
There's what I am dealing with. It is, I cannot explain what's happening. I was on every single psychiatric medication and had the worst, as you saw. I was dancing naked in front of my freaking windows and hallucinating. And then I was also force-fed pills that made me go blind. So obviously that was not what was wrong with me. And what's wrong with me is a very real neurological phenomenon that I cannot control. And it sucks because when as a kid, you start fist fighting, right? Loy-Dietz syndrome is a rare genetic connective tissue disorder characterized by vascular issues, skeletal abnormalities, and distinct craniofacial features.
Yeah,
So,
but it's in the category with Marfan syndrome, and that's
yes.
the only reason I found it today. Which is so funny.
Oh yeah, I know a lot about connective tissue disorders and neurological, and it sucks because when you have something as rare as what I do, yeah, a lot of people are gonna think that you might have fictitious disorder or that you're freaking crazy. And so now that I got it, I got number 4. The stuff's gonna stop. I'm hoping. And yeah, does that mean that I'm gonna have a treatment by the end of this? No, there's no cure for what I have.
Mhm.
But I can spread awareness.
Yeah.
And if I can influence anybody today, it's to Google DCTN1 related neurodegeneration. I'm the only person on TikTok talking about it. And I would rather people know what it is so that they can tell somebody about it. And they can look it up and hopefully you can help somebody.
I'm thinking that this was a fortuitous meeting.
I hope so. Please talk to me if you need to. I have a lot of resources here.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people looking to try to get information on this to help me. I'm very sick, and I'm sure the people that you're talking about are very sick too. And they're probably struggling and they probably feel alone. And I don't want them to feel alone ever because I know what that feels like. And I would rather, if you do feel alone, come find me because I'm going to make sure you're not alone.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Celeste, we have had a very heavy
Yes, we have.
conversation.
But very informative and productive.
And I
Please
think
take care of your mental health after this in whatever ways you need to. To whoever heard this, please take care of yourselves.
well,
This is what I carry on my plate. You don't have to carry it on yours.
to bring a little levity to the situation, have you ever had any paranormal, cryptid, or UFO experiences?
I am haunted by my deceased father and my deceased grandmother, and they're the reason why I'm here today.
Okay, explain that.
So, my biological father passed when I was 18, as you know. He's who told me that my son was a little boy. Through we were in a room with no airflow, and one of our flags on the wall started waving, me and my baby daddy, and we just started asking it questions. Yes, no. Wave if it's yes, stay flat if it's no. Oh yeah, that thing started moving. I went, okay, well, is my pregnancy going to be okay? Yeah. Is it a girl? No movement. Is it a boy? Full flop, almost went down, came back. I've also my house everywhere that I've lived is haunted. I'm also haunted by Patrick's great grandmother. She likes to follow me around. She's a little girl with a pink bow in her hair. She used to haunt Marty, and then she stopped haunting Marty because Marty started being a bad juju. So now she follows me around, and there's a little redheaded girl with like Victorian style clothing and a pink bow in her hair and curls that just wanders around her house every so often. My father-in-law is a white cat that follows me around and enjoys hanging out with me. As you heard, Phil was not buried in Arlington Cemetery. He ended because of what happened with Patrick. He was removed from the ability to get buried there. The family name, they can't let that happen because of how close. But he was buried in St. Louis, or not St. Louis, Springfield, Missouri. I don't know who that is. I'll be real. I've never seen American Horror Story. Never seen it. But he was buried out in St. Louis, out in Springfield, Missouri, and ever since he's followed me around. And then my grandmother, whenever things are going wrong, I can get out of it. Doesn't matter what it is. And I have had that since my grandmother passed in 2011. I have been able to get out of every single situation that I've ever been in. And I've had blessings come in ways that I cannot explain. Money comes out of places, people come out of places, opportunities come out of places. And it may be my belief in the manifestation of your own destiny, where if you believe it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Hi, Sarah. I love you. That's a really good friend of mine who knew me from.
Really awesome.
That's Sarah. Hey, Sarah. They were talking about freaking Aspen Institute, by the way, babes. They were talking about us. I didn't get to tell them about the LOTR fan base. We should talk about it sometime. We have a whole fan script of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I love Lord of the Rings.
We have a whole fan script of like how a bunch of teenagers got absorbed into a television and like we're wreaking havoc on Middle Earth.
Oh, really?
It was great. But no, I've had my grandma everywhere, and it's not like it's enough that you start questioning things. Like I'll have cabinets open and things fly out. And it's only when I talk about her. Once we're done here, I'm going to have to go make sure because I can't hear anything over there. But I'm Gonna have to make sure there's nothing falling off my countertops again, because she likes to shatter things when she's wants to be heard, and she's very vocal. Out of all the people I've ever experienced, my grandmother is one vocal woman.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I know you're trying to document it because it's always great.
Yeah, I am. I want to know people's stories and what they see. And I've had something weird happen to a bunch of weird things happen to me. So I know if they're happening to me, they're probably happening to other people.
Oh, absolutely.
Fair enough. Yeah, but thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me so much.
Thank you, Celeste. And we will keep in touch.
We will keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and
I hope it helps somebody.
Being able to see that moment, that happy moment for you. And yes, we will do a part 2 sometime.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys.
Yes, thank you, Celeste. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you guys for being here and listening to Celeste's story. She told me I was going to cry, and I was like, no, I'm not going to cry. And I read some of the stuff, and then when she started talking, sure enough, I did cry. So, thank you just for being here and letting us bring these stories to you, and finding out that there's all these rare, beautiful human beings in this world. So we thank you. And thank you all the people who came in here: Jenna, Sarah, Billy, McCatherine, Dodie, thank you. And Billy,
Sarah.
Yeah, we got everybody, I think. So
And
thank you,
anyone else we
everybody.
forgot? Anybody else that was just listening in, or anybody else in the replay?
Yeah, we're back to normal here, Joy.
Things are a lot more quiet around here, but it's for the best at the moment.
Yeah, it really is. So we thank you guys, and please have a blessed night, and go out and do something good to change the world for the better, please. Bye, everybody.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.